pulled up to the jail. One cop gets out and pushes the buzzer to open the big automatic overhead garage door and gets back in. After a few minutes, the door slowly rolls up and we pull in and it slowly rolls down. They get out and lock their guns in the gun box on the wall. They open the door and I get out. The officer controlling the door pops the next door and we step in. They take the cuffs off and I put my hands on the wall. I notice a sign painted on the wall that I used to get a kick out of is no longer there. It used to say, "Welcome to the Passaic County Jail. This is not a country club." It used to be at eye level and was right where you put your hands on the wall. Now, all down the wall at eye level was no talking, hands on the wall, no talking, hands on the wall. The CO takes my $7 and change and $2 bills and gives me a money receipt. I give him my boots and he gives me a pair of Bobos in my size and takes my belt. The cops make small talk and the CO puts an oversized key into the lock on a windowless steel door, turns it and opens the door. I step in and the door closes with that familiar metallic clank that I promised myself 2 years before never to hear again. The cell is 8 by 12 with a wood bench running the length of both long walls and a steel door with a thick Lexan window on the short wall. Behind me is the windowless door that I just stepped through, and there's the standard stainless steel sink and toilet unit, no toilet paper in sight. There's a payphone on the wall over each bench. I sat down on the bench and pulled the green sheets out of my pocket and studied them. I looked and looked again and can't believe they didn't charge me with resisting arrest. All the charges I was expecting were there, but no resisting arrest. I see with surprise that the bail is $3,500, no 10%. I look again and count the zeros. That can't be right. I figured the bail would be at least $25,000, no 10%. The first stolen car I ever got caught with was $10,000. This is good news, but also bad news for me, all at the same time. This might sound like a confusing statement for me to make. Let me explain so you can understand. There are two frames of mind that I can have whenever I get locked up. I'll call the first one high bail syndrome. This is a frame of mind that when I had the cuffs went on. This frame of mind is, for me, an easy frame of mind to do time with. When those cuffs went on, I understood the seriousness of the trouble I was in and knew the bail would be so high there was no chance of getting out. $10,000 and up was impossible in my mind. I had been getting high and in trouble for a lot of years, and all those people in my life that once held those get out of jail not for free cards were sufficiently frustrated and sick of my shit. No way were they going to lift a finger to help me. They had too many times only to be let down. When I was in this mindset, I knew I was staying in jail for a while and didn't have a chance of getting out. I knew that my life was inside this building, not what was going on outside. It wasn't that I didn't give a shit about my family or friends. Oops, sorry, there were no friends. Maybe one, Mike Kelly, that tried to help me, but instead got dragged through the mud. Sorry, Mike. Anyway, I had accepted my fate and could not afford to think about what was going on outside. This was my new home and new world, and I had to stay in it. Being locked up there was hard enough, but to be locked up and constantly thinking about what I could be doing or missing my kids was mental torture. I would think about those things, but I would keep them to a bare minimum. The phone was my enemy, and I used it sparingly, more so my mother knew I was all right. Don't get me wrong, the sound of her voice sounded like Beethoven, and I enjoyed the conversations, but I would always feel the weight of being locked up on my shoulders when I hung up the phone and would be depressed for hours. My mother was the only one I ever called in this state of mind. The other state of mind I'll call low bail syndrome. LBS makes time hard to do and is embarrassing. When I have LBS, the thing that fucks me is the word hope. Hope that I can get out on bail. That hope is fueled by the fact that my insides are ripping out from the heroin withdrawal. I'm starving and craving chocolate to almost insanity. I'm also weak and vulnerable to a good number of jacked up inmates. The only thing I can think of are ways to try to come up with the bail to get out of this hell. In this state of mind, I would give my right thumb to get out. This is where the embarrassment comes in. I will suffer the indignity of begging people on the phone to get me out. Bridges I have burned and people I haven't seen in years will get collect calls from me groveling. I feel every word of this embarrassing conversations. The drug withdrawal, the devil, is screaming in my ear. Try someone else. I feel powerless to just let it go and stop embarrassing myself. Low bails cause this state of mind. I would rather have the resisting arrest charge and a high bail than have this low bail. I was already deserving of the jail for the car, but I guess the low bail was God's way of payback for the real low-life thing I did when I stole that girl's purse. Hopefully, I explained what I was talking about with the two states of mind, and now we're on the same page.